The following content is supported by victoris.org.
Okay, so we're back from our lunch break. So if I've sent you an email, can you go check the Replit? So it's there's some exercises over there. Let's attempt questions 1 to 3. So maybe before that I can explain a bit what's going on over here. So your code is going to look something like that. So previously we wrote code in the console area line by line, and every time we press enter, it executes and the instruction was sent to the Python and it executed it. Now instead we're going to write code in the red region over here, and when we write the code first, then we click run, and when you click run, the Python would go through every single line, execute it line by line. So in this case, let's say we have some sample code over here. Let's say we have sample code being x equals to 4, print x equals to 5, print x. Can you guess what the output is going to be? When I press run.
4 and 5.
Yep, that's right. So what happened was it executed line 1, executed a variable called x with the value of 4. It printed x to the screen, which is why we see 4 appear. Then line 3, reassign the variable x a new value of 5, and it printed x to the screen, which is why we see 5 appear. Okay. Now let's talk about okay, so yeah, so we'll be writing code like that, and if not, you can jump over and go to Q1. Okay, yeah, so if you can follow the instructions, and okay, when you press run, okay, we see 16 appear, and yeah, so you have followed the instructions correctly, and let's proceed to Q2. So for the viewers at home, the code the exercises are available on GitHub in the description below, and yeah, you can take a look at it yourself. Okay, let's go to Q2. Okay, so for Q2, we'll be calculating the area of a circle. Yeah, so the area of a circle is pi r squared. Okay, when you're ready, you can press run. Okay, and we see the correct output, which is 78.53. So a few things to note, right? It's a common mistake that people will write the exponent using the caret, but I see that you've done it correctly using star over here. So why is caret wrong? It's because if we do 5 caret 2 in the console over here, we see that the output is, we expect it to be 25, but we see 7 instead. And the reason is the caret in Python is actually means a different thing. It actually means XOR, exclusive OR. Whereas if we want exponent, we do 5 star 2, and that denotes the exponent. Okay, so we take radius squared times pi, and so you did radius squared times pi, which is correct. Okay, a few other ways, some things to note. This is completely correct, right? It's correct logic. And there are other ways you can go about doing it. For example, instead of radius star 2, let's say you didn't know star was exponent, then you can actually do radius times pi, then you produce a correct answer as well. Or if let's say you didn't like radius times pi, you can create another variable called r squared equals to radius times radius. And then over here, instead of radius times pi, you just have r squared times pi. And that also works just as well. So this is known, and in coding terminology, this is known as different implementations of the same logical behavior. And yeah, so yeah, okay, so another question is, why do we need to go through all this troublesome code to calculate the area of a circle? Why can't we just calculate the area of a circle by hand and just write area equals to 78.53? And the reason is because, let's say I wanted to change the radius to 10. Okay, if I didn't have the code over here, if I wrote area equals to 78.53 instead, then I'll need to recalculate the area of a circle and write a new value over here. But because I have all this code over here, I just need to change the value of radius. Python will automatically calculate the new area for me. So that's the power of coding, where you can automate some part of the calculation away. Okay, if not, then let's move on to Q3. Okay, so in Q3, we're tasked to calculate the BMI. Your BMI. Okay, awesome. So you have successfully calculated your BMI using Python. So something I want to mention is that, let's jump back to this code over here. Right? What if I wanted to comment on the code? Then if I write, let's say I wrote, this is some comment, okay? Then Python, if I try to run this, Python will be throwing at me all kinds of errors. It's saying line 4 this is invalid Python code. So what if I want to comment, just like how I comment on Google Docs, I can put a hashtag before a sign and see that all the text turns green, indicating that it's a comment. The comment is not executed as Python. So if I run, now we see no errors, we see 4 and 5. That also means that if I comment out a particular line of code, that line of code is not executed. So can you guess the output?
4.
And there'll be 2 outputs. Yeah, so there'll be 2 outputs because there are 2 print statements, and there'll be 4 and 4. Okay, so if not, then that wraps it up for our variables, number variables. Let's talk about words in Python. So how do you store text information in Python? We also use variables, and let's illustrate that with a Kahoot quiz.